Tucker Carlson is back, ladies and gentlemen. He put out a video last night on Twitter. Kind of vague, but he basically said the liars will get what's coming to them. And the video, as of right now, has almost 45 million views. Okay, it's a weird metric on Twitter. It says 45 million views in the tweet. The video itself has, I think, 14 million views. So pick whichever number you think fits your ideological worldview and then run with it. The left is going to say, it only has 13, and the right's going to be like, it's got 50. But all in all, regardless of how you cut it, Tucker Carlson's short 2-minute message on Twitter got way bigger ratings than his actual show did. Now, obviously, it's because they fired him, and then he put out a statement. So everybody wants to hear what he has to say. But he had some very important things to say, and there's some very important things they want to say about him. Because now, my friends, the war begins. Tucker Carlson hits out at liars trying to silence honest people and power brokers who are hysterical and afraid in blistering video following his shock firing from Fox News. And while that story may not be news to everybody, I'm sure many of you heard that Tucker Carlson issued a statement. How about this one? From Rolling Stone 2 days ago. Fox has a secret Oppo file to keep Tucker Carlson in check, sources say. 8 sources tell Rolling Stone that the network's top brass has been stockpiling information on the departing primetime host. Are you ready for a media war? It's getting crazy out there, my friends. BuzzFeed News collapses. Nate Silver is about to get fired. Don Lemon is gone. And Tucker Carlson is next. And there's probably more coming. The corporate press does not work. And the amazing thing, there's actually an interview with Ben Smith of BuzzFeed News shining a light on the corruption that is BuzzFeed News. Now, I don't think he sees it that way. He's probably thinking that BuzzFeed News was great. But his interview basically says, Little Mermaid quizzes right next to serious news. And when Facebook decided that this stuff was awful and they didn't want it on their platform, it hurt their business. What that really says, they were trying to capitalize on politics. And they were trying to use Facebook as a medium to deliver this stuff. And it drove everyone insane. And only now is BuzzFeed News finally getting a stake through the heart like the vampire that it is. But let's first read about what's happening with Tucker Carlson, and then we'll talk about the collapse of the media. We have this from the Daily Mail. Tucker Carlson has hit out at liars trying to silence honest people and power brokers. Speaking 2 days after he was fired from his position as America's most watched cable news host, Carlson addressed his fans in a 2-minute video that was posted on Twitter and spoke cryptically about being silenced. He said America's ruling class has given up persuasion. They are resorting to force. But he insisted the honest people would ultimately win, and he's right. The liars who have been trying to silence them shrink and they become weaker, he said. That's the iron law of the universe. True things prevail. 5 hours after the video was posted, the clip was viewed nearly 30 million times. Actually, I have it right here for you. 44.6 million views on the tweet, 14.2 million views on the actual video clip. Let's refresh it and see where the number is at right now. And now it's 14.4 and 45.3. I know some of you may have already heard this, but I think for those that didn't, they should. So I'm going to play the clip from Tucker. It's 2 minutes long, and we should hear what he says.
Good evening, it's Tucker Carlson. One of the first things you realize when you step outside the noise for a few days is how many genuinely nice people there are in this country. Kind and decent people, people who really care about what's true, and a bunch of hilarious people also, a lot of those. It's got to be the majority of the population, even now. So that's heartening. The other thing you notice when you take a little time off is how unbelievably stupid most of the debates you see on television are. They're completely irrelevant. They mean nothing. In 5 years, we won't even remember that we had them. Trust me, as someone who's participated. And yet at the same time, and this is the amazing thing, the undeniably big topics, the ones that will define our future, get virtually no discussion at all. War, civil liberties, emerging science, demographic change, corporate power, natural resources. When was the last time you heard a legitimate debate about any of those issues? It's been a long time. Debates like that are not permitted in American media. Both political parties and their donors have reached consensus on what benefits them, and they actively collude to shut down any conversation about it. Suddenly, the United States looks very much like a one-party state. That's a depressing realization, but it's not permanent. Our current orthodoxies won't last. They're brain dead. Nobody actually believes them. Hardly anyone's life is improved by them. This moment is too inherently ridiculous to continue, and so it won't. The people in charge know this. That's why they're hysterical and aggressive. They're afraid. They've given up persuasion. They're resorting to force. But it won't work. When honest people say what's true, calmly and without embarrassment, they become powerful. At the same time, the liars who've been trying to silence them shrink, and they become weaker. That's the iron law of the universe. True things prevail. Where can you still find Americans saying true things? There aren't many places left, but there are some, and that's enough. As long as you can hear the words, there is hope. See you soon.
I completely agree with Tucker Carlson. In everything he said, I mean, you know it. That's probably why you watch my videos. It's probably why many of you watch Timcast IRL. It's probably why many of you started watching the Culture War podcast. Because you turn on cable news, you open up a website for a major newspaper, and it's all lies. It's them telling you what you're allowed to think, not what's true. You want to fit in? These are the words you need to repeat. But those of us who actually care about the world being a better place, understanding reality, and helping our fellow man, we aren't interested in playing that game. Me? I want to know what is, not what you want. And that's the scary thing about the modern left. They live in a world of subjectivity, where anything is whatever they want it to be. We, I, you, many others, live in a world of mostly objectivity. I say mostly because we recognize we have our biases. We recognize that we expect certain things when it comes to news, or we search out certain stories. And that will limit our views. We're not omniscient. But when we look for news and we look at what's going on, we want to know the truth so we can improve our lives and the lives of those around us. But that's bad news to the corporate structures. It's bad news to the elites and the powers that be. And they will do anything they can to stop it. They're going to say the 53-year-old's word represented a fiery rebuke to the Fox News executives who fired him. Carlson was said to be stunned by the Monday morning call from Suzanne Scott, CEO of Fox News. She and Lachlan Murdoch, the CEO of Fox Corporation, are said to have made the decision Friday night, less than a week after they settled their Dominion suit. Carlson's text messages to co-hosts and colleagues were pivotal to Dominion's case because he admitted that the on-air claims he made of the 2020 election being stolen were farcical and mocked those promoting the conspiracy theories against Dominion. And that's the lie. Tucker Carlson never, as far as maybe I'm wrong, okay, because I don't watch everything he's ever said. My understanding is he was not in support of the fraud narrative. I know that he had a segment where he was like, Sidney Powell, why don't you prove these things? And I'll let you come on the show and say whatever you want. And she wouldn't do it. It's strange then that the narrative is now that he was on board with the election lies. The funny thing is, they say the same thing about me. And it's the weirdest thing. I have never been on board with the 2020 fraud narrative, yet there are activist organizations that lie every day fundraising off of the claim that I believed Donald Trump. Isn't that amazing? Why are they so adamant to make sure they lie about people like me or Tucker? Now, more so Tucker, I'm not trying to say that I'm on his level or anything like that. I'm just saying when it comes to this narrative, and it's probably because they need that. When they go to their leftist voters, when they're liberal voters who don't pay attention, they say, here's how you could identify an other. They think the election was stolen. And I'm like, I mean, if in the sense that Democrats and Republicans worked together in various states to change laws to improve their odds and bolster their turnout and use universal mail-in voting in Pennsylvania, where it was initially deemed unconstitutional. If you're talking about that, I mean, those things literally happened. The New York Times reported that. I'm not making that up. But then if people are arguing anything weird about, like, you know, German spies or something and satellites, I don't know what you're talking about. But here's where we are. If you in any way said that Democrats, well, Democrats wrote an article called The Shadow Campaign to Save the Election. And if you in any way reference what they claim they did, they will come out and say you're an election denier. And they do that because they want to make sure you're an other. So they'll lie. But you want to know where we're at? They fear Tucker Carlson. I would love, it would be the greatest episode we've ever done if Tucker Carlson could join Timcast IRL at night and we would just be like, let's roll, baby, say it all. But there's some risks. For one, my understanding is that Tucker Carlson is still under contract with Fox News. So despite taking him off the air, I'm not sure what he can or can't say. I'm not sure what he cares to say. But then you also have this. Fox secret opposition file on Tucker Carlson. You want to know how evil these people are? As he was working for them, making them lots of money and being the highest rated show, they were secretly collecting dirt to weaponize against him. Oh boy. Here's the story from Rolling Stone. Fox News executives have in their possession a dossier of alleged dirt on Tucker Carlson should he attack the network in the wake of his departure. 8 sources at and close to the network tell Rolling Stone. When Fox announced Carlson's departure on Monday, the network presented the separation as amicable, but according to one former on-air Fox personality, the anchor and some of the channel's top executives are parting ways on the worst and messiest possible terms. Indeed, in private communications released last month as part of the Dominion lawsuit, the now fired Fox host gossiped that one such executive hates us, claiming she was covertly working against him and other hosts. But if Carlson attempts to torch the network he's leaving, Fox is prepared. 8 people familiar with the situation tell Rolling Stone that Fox News and its communications department, long led by the notoriously aggressive Irina Briganti, has assembled damaging information about Carlson. One source with knowledge calls it an Oppo file. 2 sources add that Fox is prepared to disclose some of its contents if executives suspect that Carlson is coming after the network. The file includes internal complaints regarding workplace conduct, disparaging comments about management and colleagues, and allegations that the now former primetime host created a toxic work environment, 3 of the sources say. Carlson is currently facing a lawsuit from a former senior booking producer, Abby Grossberg, alleging a toxic and misogynist workplace environment. The lawsuit details repeated instances of misogynist behavior at the network, including frequent lewd and sexual discussion of female guests and public figures. I'm just going to skip over the rest of their weird parenthetical article because she never met Tucker Carlson. She never met him. He worked in a different state. Amazing, isn't it? A network spokesperson denied the existence of the file on Carlson. This is patently absurd and categorically false. We thank Tucker for his service to the network as a host and prior to that as a contributor. Now, there's a funny thing. Rolling Stone saying this stuff exists and revealing the basic details of it has just neutered Fox News's attempt at silencing Tucker Carlson. And that's the best part about it. And it's probably why they're pissed off. They're like, we needed this information to be private so we could weaponize it. But no, you can't. Because now we've heard your arguments. Many sources within the network disagree. Irina will never be shy about using these things, says one network source who is familiar with the Carlson-related complaints. Over the years, Briganti and Fox PR tactics have been turned against its own most prominent talent. For instance, the Daily Beast reported in 2018 that emails reviewed and verified by the outlet show that Fox's communications brass have planted negative stories about some of their own top stars, including hosts like Bill O'Reilly and Stuart Varney, the latter of whom is still a Fox employee. Those methods for keeping personnel in line are an open secret among current and former Fox News staff. 4 former Fox News personalities confirmed Briganti likes to keep dirt files on Fox News talent, including one on Tucker Carlson. An ex-Fox News anchor laments, Irina tries to keep a file on everybody. Any talent like Tucker would have a lot of things, other people complaining, they encourage it, and then they just keep it on file. It's a classic dirty trick. Briganti keeps files on everybody to screw with them. A departed Fox News host adds, it's classic Fox. The sources say it was not clear what might prompt Briganti or Fox News to use the file. On Monday, it was revealed that Carlson had hired Brian Friedman, a high-powered entertainment lawyer, to represent him following his Fox exit. Rolling Stone did not receive comment from Carlson at the time of his piece's publication. Friedman did not respond to Rolling Stone's request for comment. It's also unclear what precisely triggered Carlson's abrupt departure, blah, blah, blah. We think it has a lot to do, it was a variety of things it has a lot to do with. Maybe that Rupert Murdoch's wife was gushing over Tucker and kind of offended Rupert Murdoch. He's now no longer with this woman, so oopsie. Do the executives understand how much credibility and trust we've lost with our audience? Carlson wrote shortly after Fox News projected Joe Biden had beaten Trump in the 2020 election. Regarding Fox News executives, Carlson also privately sniped. A combination of incompetent liberals and top leadership with too much pride to back down is what's happening. Harshly trashing leadership is considered to be a major transgression at Fox News and Fox Business, where those who step out of line may find themselves on the receiving end of an unfavorable story. Well, I'll tell you, they go on to mention like Megyn Kelly and all that stuff, but I'll tell you. Rupert Murdoch does not want Tucker Carlson to be the big dog. That's it. Tucker Carlson became too big and it hurts the brand. That's basic business 101. If you're running a brand and you've got talent that is becoming bigger than the brand, your brand is in trouble. It's probably one of the reasons that they got rid of him. Now, fortunately for me here at Timcast, Timcast is the name of the company and the name of its flagship show, so I have a lot less to worry about in that regard. And honestly, I'm not really worried about it. I hope that the people who work here and the talent at Timcast become way bigger, millions of subscribers, and they can do whatever they want. Because I'm good doing my thing. And I don't know what else I'd need. I suppose if you're Rupert Murdoch and your fame is only in that you've hired other people to say words, you'd be worried if someone saying words was getting more famous than you. As for me, I say the words. It runs the business, and then I hire other people to say words too. And if in the end the other shows became much, much bigger and took off, then good for them. I still have my show, and that's it. I ain't worried about anything. This is the future. Individuals running their own networks, which is what Tucker is likely going to do. I can't imagine he'd do anything else. Now, some people believe that he's going to run for office. Maybe. But if Tucker were to now, in 1 week's time, launch his own website, he got 45 million impressions on that tweet. Imagine if he could convert but a 1%. Let's just say 1%. Because not everybody who watched that likes the guy. He's looking at 400,000 paying members. Let's say he charges $20 a month for Tucker TV. Oh boy, that's a lot of money. We're talking $8 million per month. Let's say he just does $10 per month. Let's say he converts 5%. You see where we're going? Now we're talking $10 million per month if he charges $10 a month. Wait, did I get the math right? Oh, wait, my math is way off. So if he's got 45 million and we're talking 5%, so we're looking at 2.25 million subscribers at $10 a month, then we're looking at, holy crap, that's a lot of money. Wow. He'd be pulling in hundreds of millions of dollars. For some reason, I was thinking $5 per month, but 2.25 million. If he got only 5% of those viewers to actually subscribe, that's probably a lot. But hey, man, if he could pull in 20 million per month, he'd be doing all right for himself. And I wouldn't be surprised if he could. Now, he gets 3 million in his ratings, 3.3 million on average. Let me break it down for y'all. When we do Timcast IRL, we get about 500,000 views. It's almost all key demographic. It's about 80% key demo. So that actually rivals Tucker in the key demo. But Tucker then has 2.8 million people 55 and older, which we just absolutely don't get. So that's good news in terms of our access to the younger demographic, but he's still substantially 10 times more influential. What you need to understand about those viewers is that an individual viewer doesn't watch every episode every single night. Some do, most don't. That means if we were to look at Tucker Carlson's average nightly viewership of 3.3 million, and I was going to do some projections in terms of unique individuals, Tucker probably has 60 million unique individuals who watch his show. 3.3 watch. And you know, it's cable TV news, so there's probably a strong recurring audience. But I'd estimate that the amount of individuals. So basically, let's say of the 3.3 million, 1 million watch every episode all the time. That's just 1 million people. But I'd be willing to bet that the average person watches maybe 5 episodes per month. That means those other views are all different, unique people. Because that's what it means for us. When we look at our unique viewership, it's massive. It's like, it's substantially higher. Because if we put out an episode on Monday and 500,000 people watch it, a different 200,000 people are rotating between each episode. So in terms of unique individuals who have seen our content plus our clips, I think it comes to like 40 or 50 million people, which is crazy. Not everybody watches every single show. Well, right now, Fox News' ratings have taken a major hit. They're way down, and we expect they'll be way down again. At first, they said, what is this? Hollywood Reporter says they pulled in 2.6 million, despite Mediaite saying it was actually way lower than that. I'm willing to bet that the new ratings that come through are going to be way worse. Many people pointed out that come Monday, people tuned into Fox News and watched Brian Kilmeade, not understanding that Tucker was gone. Tuesday, many people will not tune back in because Tucker is gone. It's going to be interesting to see if Fox News can pull through this. If they end up with only like 1 million views for Brian Kilmeade. Now, there's questions over who will replace this time slot. Jesse Waters seems like a good idea, but I got to tell you, anybody who takes that slot is probably going to be really, really embarrassed because they're already making fun of Brian Kilmeade. This is probably one of the reasons why they wanted to get rid of Tucker. You can't replace him. If Sean Hannity were to leave, nobody would care. Seriously, they wouldn't care. If Ingram were to leave, nobody would care. And I'm not trying to be a dick to either of them. Tucker Carlson was fired unceremoniously, and people are upset. So anybody who fills that slot will be viewed as a usurper, and it will be cringe. So perhaps Fox News should just run dead air. It's fascinating times to be alive, my friends. Fascinating times. We'll see where Tucker goes, but I'm fairly optimistic. I am. I think he's going to launch something big. We'll see. Next segment's coming up at 1 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.